She changed a system. Her voice, recorded in one of the most heartbreaking 911 calls, still echoes in halls of justice today. But how did it all begin? Let's trace this tragedy. In 2008, Florida passed the Denise Amber Lee Act, mandating voluntary training for 911 dispatchers. But Denise's family didn't stop there. Her husband Nathan and father Rick founded the Denise Amber Lee Foundation, pushing for national certification and better 911 protocols nationwide. Today, Nathan travels the country speaking to 911 centers, dispatchers, and lawmakers, keeping Denise's name alive while fighting to make sure no other mother is failed again. The community reeled. A young mother had called 911. Another witness had reported the abduction, and yet she died. The press exposed the systemic failures in the emergency response system. Investigations revealed that crucial calls, including one from a brave eyewitness, were misrouted or dismissed. Denise's story became a symbol of what needed to change. Welcome to Dark Matters TV, where we tell each story with love and respect for the victims and their families. If you believe in uncovering the truth behind stories like this, not for shock, but for justice, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep these stories alive, and these names remembered. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a case. And if you have been with us and yet to subscribe, go ahead. Your support helps us to shade more light to these stories to help understand them better. Denise Amber Lee was born August 6, 1986 in Englewood, Florida, to Susan and Rick Goff. The eldest of three siblings with younger brother Tyler and sister Amanda, Denise was thoughtful and introverted, but possessed a passion that lit up every room, especially when playing her silver flute in the school band. A straight-A student, she graduated magna cum laude from Lemon Bay High. It was there she met her confidant and high school sweetheart, Nathan Lee. They joked about how he didn't notice her, until he did. Their relationship moved fast, a first date, and 3 weeks later, Valentine's Day, Nathan gifted her a $40 silver heart ring she treasured more than anything, even more than her later engagement ring. They married a year later, on August 1, 2005, at First United Methodist in Punta Gorda, Florida, and soon welcomed two sons, Noah and Adam, born about a year apart. Denise became the stay-at-home mom, putting college on hold so she could devote herself fully to motherhood. On Thursday, January 17, 2008, Denise spent the morning at home, giving their older son a haircut on the back porch. Nathan, working 3 jobs, including as a Florida Power Company meter reader, left early, only speaking to her around 11 a.m. about turning off the air condition and opening the windows. It was their last conversation that makes what happened next so devastating. At some point that afternoon, Denise was abducted from her home. She never left her children alone, especially not together in one crib. The evidence suggested she was taken suddenly, violently, and in broad daylight. Around 3:30 p.m., Nathan returned home, calling Denise repeatedly with no answer. Pulling into the driveway, he was unsettled. The windows were shut, her car in place, the door locked. Everything looked normal except Denise. Inside, the scene was chilling. Both boys, now in soiled diapers, were asleep together in a crib. Denise's purse, keys, phone, they were all untouched. Nathan's horror grew. His instincts screamed, something is very wrong. He called 911, the first of multiple calls that afternoon. Denise's father, Rick, a Charlotte County Sheriff Sergeant with 25 years experience, quickly offered his insight. His authority and urgency escalated the response. Within an hour, the home and street were swarming with police. Neighbors were interviewed. A crucial eyewitness, neighbor Jennifer, had seen a green Chevrolet Camaro circulate the block around 2 p.m., then park in the driveway. The driver, a tall, heavy-set white man who lingered about 10 minutes before departing. Authorities broadcast descriptions, dark green Camaro, 1990s, 2000s, and intensified their search. At 6:14 p.m., nearly 3 hours after her disappearance, Denise made a desperate call to 911 using her abductor's phone, purportedly while bound in his car. For 6 agonizing minutes, she spoke to the dispatcher, pleading 17 times over, and relaying as much location detail as she could muster, all while pretending to the kidnapper that she was still with him. In her final hours, Denise Amber Lee didn't just fight for herself. She fought for her 2 little boys she was forced to leave behind. With sheer courage, she grabbed her abductor's phone and called 911, risking everything just for a chance to be with her family again. She whispered clues, gave landmarks, clung to hope, doing everything right. But the system failed her, and a mother's desperate plea was lost in silence. As we uncover the heartbreaking murder of Denise Amber Lee and expose the cracks that cost her life, take a moment to subscribe. Your support keeps stories like hers alive and helps us learn from the failures that should never be repeated. Yet, with a prepaid burner phone and no ability to triangulate, police couldn't track her. Then a fourth call came in. Jane Kowalski sat in her car at a traffic light when she heard muffled screams from a green Camaro. A woman was pounding on the window. Jane called 911, but her call was routed to the wrong county. It wasn't linked to Denise's abduction. No officers were dispatched. That call could have saved Denise. It didn't. But due to county routing errors and dispatcher mistakes, that call was mishandled and never escalated for immediate response. Despite upwards of 4 patrol cars reportedly within a mile, no officers were dispatched during Denise's call. Time was slipping away. At 9:15 p.m. on January 17, 2008, police pulled over a suspicious green Camaro. Inside was Michael King, muddy, nervous, and carrying a phone with the battery removed. In the car, investigators found a shovel. The silver heart ring Nathan gave her on their first Valentine's Day was still in the car. They uncovered evidence that Denise had been held captive, her hair, and a red jerrycan. Michael King was arrested. Inside the vehicle and his home, police found clear evidence linking him to Denise Amber Lee's disappearance. When taken into custody and questioned, King gave a pathetic and unbelievable claim that he had been kidnapped too. He tried to shift blame, acting like a victim, despite mounting evidence that he was the one responsible. Detectives pressed him repeatedly, desperate to find Denise while there was still hope. But King remained silent, cold, and uncooperative, refusing to give any clues that could lead them to her. Every second counted, and still, he showed no urgency or remorse. Denise had risked everything to call 911. He offered nothing in return. His failure to help sealed her fate and exposed the dark, twisted core of a cowardly killer. 2 days later, they found her body in a shallow grave. She had been raped and shot. If you believe victims like Denise deserve better, subscribe now to help us keep their voices alive and push for real change. During his trial starting August 24, 2009, prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence. DNA in his car and home, Devon's heart-shaped ring lodged in seat cushions, duct tape, hair strands, and her plea-filled 911 call. Possibly the most damning evidence on August 28th. He was convicted of kidnapping, sexual battery, and first-degree murder. The trial lasted just a few days. The jury deliberated under 3 hours. On September 4, 2009, Michael King was sentenced to death. Michael King was a Northport resident, a 36-year-old failed plumber. Divorced, financially unstable, with a low IQ and a childhood brain injury, he nevertheless planned and carried out the crime with chilling premeditation. King had no criminal record and no known connection to Denise. Authorities later concluded that King randomly abducted Denise in a horrifying crime of opportunity. What made it worse was the planning involved: zip ties, duct tape, a pre-dug grave. Denise fought back, hard, and her courage in captivity would make her a hero in death. Denise's courageous actions and the tragic failure of the 911 system triggered national ripples. The Florida legislature swiftly passed the Denise Amber Lee Act on April 24, 2008, mandating optional training for 911 operators, a first step. Her husband Nathan and her father Rick vowed to push further, lobbying for mandatory certification nationwide. The Denise Amber Lee Foundation, launched June 2008, continues to advocate for system-wide reforms, training, and awareness to ensure no caller is ever ignored again. King remains on death row at Union Correctional, Florida, as of March 2025. Nathan Lee still passionately speaks at 911 conferences across the country and secured a multi-million-dollar settlement with Charlotte County in 2012 for wrongful mishandling of calls. Her final act in life was to protect her children and to fight for a chance to return home. Denise Lee wasn't just a victim. She was a warrior. Her story is a lesson in how systems can fail and how strength can live in even the most desperate moments. If this story moved you, subscribe to our channel. Share Denise's legacy. Support reform. Together, we can make sure no other family suffers this same fate. That until next time, stay safe, stay woke.